What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our Defending the Sequel Trilogy, telling you why it's good, the third and final part. This one's going to be a controversial thing to discuss since this movie is universally hated. So, yeah, I guess I can get murdered now, I guess.
It's not universally. There's a few people in the universe.
Yep. This man included. So,
Yeah, I don't hate
I think we have slightly differing opinions on this, but both of us are going to be on the defensive for this movie.
Yeah, I lean more positive. It's definitely got problems. I think you'd be insane to act like this movie doesn't have problems.
As I said in our last Jedi video, I think people just boil it down to like one thing that they instantly see that they don't like, and then they just take it out on the rest of the movie.
Oh, for sure. Sorry, just grabbing something.
Yeah, notes.
But yeah. How do we even start? I mean, I just kind of wanted to bring up because we didn't really talk about it just in the Last Jedi one. Just like whether you love Last Jedi, whether you hate Last Jedi, whether you fall kind of like I do, where you're kind of somewhere in the middle. They did do kind of like, I don't know, the reception afterward, the like discourse about it. It all became very toxic after that movie, and Star Wars fandom was kind of like torn in half for a while.
Right.
And it still kind of is.
It's never gonna get fixed.
And I think it's kind of important to address that if we're going to talk about this movie, because I feel like this movie kind of tries to be both a response to that, but also like, its own thing.
Trying to honor what it came before.
Yeah, like tries to do both, and I think it kind of falls into that trap where it's like it's a little too afraid to completely go in the direction The Last Jedi was going, but it was also kind of trying to do what J.J. Abrams initially intended to do, so it kind of tries to play both, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But overall, like I think this movie gets too much hate, and it's definitely not perfect.
Is this still your favorite of the trilogy?
I would say no. After I saw the movie like a few times in theaters, I'm like, I really enjoy it. Like I have fun watching this.
Oh yeah, it's fun to watch.
I'd honestly put I think Force Awakens above this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's funny because it's like I talked about Last Jedi. I would put probably The Last Jedi over this one overall, but I enjoy watching more of this one than I do watching more of The Last Jedi. I just think the parts I like in Last Jedi are stronger than anything in this movie.
As much as I love The Last Jedi, and like I will, like if I want to watch a movie, I'll watch that. Like if I want to watch like a Star Wars movie, I'll watch The Force Awakens. But like if I just want to be like entertained, like for more like replay value, just like watchability, I'll watch The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Even though I love The Last Jedi, this is the one that I watched the most in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, it's a fun ride. It's constantly moving, sometimes to like a detriment.
It's on crack sometimes.
It's got that Goblet of Fire syndrome where the first like 15 minutes you have to kind of like keep up with what's happening because it's all happening so quick.
Not even like within the opening crawl, you kind of have to keep.
Well, yeah, dude. I'll tell you, I was shocked because obviously we had the big announcement at Celebration that year that Ian McDiarmid was coming back as Palpatine.
Yeah, not only that, but like they did because I think that's when they revealed the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Because you heard his laugh in the teaser trailer.
Yeah, and then he showed up on stage and he's like, "Roll it again," and it was fucking epic. And we're all like, "Yeah, Palpatine!"
I wish they didn't do that though. Because here's why. Like I get why they did it because like because of the response to The Last Jedi. So like everybody was like, "What the hell is this movie even going to be about?" So like I get it. Spoiling Palpatine in the marketing, we have to have some idea as to what is going to happen in the movie.
Especially if they're going to reveal him in like the opening crawl. Like that was what shocked me. I was sitting in the theater and I'm like, holy shit, just get right to it.
Dude, could you imagine this though? If they showed the trailer at Celebration, there was no like Palpatine indications that he was going to be in it. Like if they didn't market it with Palpatine, if they didn't throw him in Fortnite where he actually sends that message to the galaxy, which was so stupid. If they did a completely different opening crawl, and the movie opens and Kylo's just wrecking people on Mustafar, he gets the Wayfinder, then he heads to Exegol, he goes through the Breath of the Wild dungeon, and then and then like when he's going down that elevator, how awesome would it be in the theater if we had no idea Palpatine was in the movie and he just goes, lost.
I mean, yeah, I would have been shocked for sure. Like that
Yeah.
would have definitely shocked me.
Yeah.
I
I'd be in
it's
heaven.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting though, because I'm sure I'd be like, holy shit, but I'd also be like, wait, what the fuck's happening? Like, because that's how I felt even in the theater, knowing he was coming. I expected like halfway through the movie, we're gonna like visit the Death Star remains, and he's gonna be like a ghost or something.
Okay, so speaking of Palpatine for a minute, I guess we could do a play-by-play, but I just want to touch on the Palpatine thing since that's really how the movie opens with the opening crawl. It's
such
like
a big part
dead
of the
speak.
movie. Yeah, dude. Okay, I fucking love that line. Okay, it's cheesy as hell, and I love it. It reminds me of episode 3 where George Lucas is like, "How am I gonna start this war?" Where this one's like, "How are we gonna start this? The dead speak." I'm like, okay, shit, yeah, I guess Palpatine's back.
Yeah. But since we're oh shit, now I lost my train of thought. Now that I said that, I was gonna say, well, I guess okay. Here's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
Damn it, I lost it again.
Oh my god. The dead speak.
The dead are speaking. What was I gonna say about Palpatine? I don't know. It'll come back to me. But yeah, we can talk about the pacing for this movie. I mean, it is within like you said, it's got the Goblet of Fire syndrome. Within the first 20 to dude, I will say within the first like 30 minutes, once they get to Pasana, like it's still the plot's still like moving fast there. But at least it like slows down a little bit when they get to Pasana.
It blows my mind in the beginning parts.
But it's like the pacing is like all over the place in like the first like 20 minutes because it's like, oh, Palpatine's back. Oh, Kylo's on Mustafar. Oh, he found the Wayfinder. Oh, he's going to Exegol. Oh, he's meeting with Palpatine. Oh, he's gonna kill the girl, but he really doesn't have to kill the girl.
Well, yeah, it's just weird because like they shift, like there's a lot of scenes and a lot of exposition that are all happening very quickly. Where they're like, oh, but somehow Palpatine's returned. Well, in Luke's journal, there was this Wayfinder. Oh, we have to go find the Wayfinder. We gotta go there. And then
there's this dagger. Oh, there's this Jedi hunter named Ochi. Oh, Lando's on this planet. It's like, wow,
like that one scene
down.
Where it's just like Knights of Red, cool, or whatever.
Like there's a spy in the First Order. Can't forget about Bulio.
It's just crazy. It's like this I mean, I kind of like the general idea of this movie though, where they were like, in the sequel trilogy, we hadn't had like a group.
A fetch quest.
Yeah, we hadn't had like a group all being together, going on a journey together. Like the first one, you had like Han.
Dude, people were begging for this, and they were still pissed.
Well, yeah, it was just cool to see like Poe and Rey in the same room for like more than 5 seconds, and like Finn and working together with both of them.
Dude, I think honestly,
C-3PO is the highlight of this.
3PO is the man. My first laser battle.
He's the best in this movie.
Dude. Okay, so when we get to Kijimi, we gotta talk about him a little bit more because, like, 3PO. I guess we could talk about 3PO now, actually, because 3PO is the one that moves the plot along logically because he just looks at everybody and he's like, "Shut up, you fucking morons!" I
just think C-3PO. He's a character that's been there from the very first film. He never really quite got his due to like be on an adventure.
Good job, sir. Terrible job, sir.
Especially not in like the sequel trilogy. He was very much relegated to the background.
Yeah.
And I think it was important that if you're gonna have like a final Skywalker Saga movie, you need to give Anthony Daniels something to do, like something. And I think they do a great job with him. I just think the one thing is they should have left his mind wiped.
Yeah.
When they fixed that real easily, I'm like, that was a big sacrifice moment, that big trailer moment.
You know what? You know what makes it all work for me? I know this is before they fix it, but you know what makes it all work for me?
What's that?
On Kijimi, C-3PO wears a jacket.
I liked going on like an Indiana Jones type of like, we need to go across the galaxy and find these clues, and the clues lead to somewhere else, and then we need to go there, and then we need to like, I like that was new for Star Wars kind of. Yeah. And I actually really liked that. It had like a kind of an old school adventure vibe.
Yeah.
I like that much better than, oh, we are slowly pursuing them, sir.
How dare you?
They are slowly getting away, sir. Send the TIE fighters. No, don't send the TIE fighters. Keep following them. They're on the edge of a string.
How dare you?
Hyperspace tracking.
It's great. It's great.
Don't you dare. this movie, it's crazy at first. Like, it bounces out. Palpatine coming back, like I said, even though you know it's in the movie, you didn't know before watching the movie to what extent Palpatine was going to be in it.
Yeah.
You didn't know if he was going to be the main bad guy, if he was just going to be like a cameo, like what the deal was. And then it's like,
speaking of Palpatine, I do think he should have been in it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think they should have been in it more to kind of, give him more oomph.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of, if he's like there, but like it's also kind of like,
dude,
how is he here?
And I understand the complaint where they kind of do like this whole like bait and switch, because it feels like they just forgot what they said at the beginning of the movie, where he's like, kill the girl, and then later in the movie he's like, I never wanted you dead. It's just like, did you forget that you told Kylo to fucking kill her?
You get the impression that
I guess he's using reverse psychology on
Kylo.
He's like,
if Kylo goes after her, she'll fight Kylo. She'll kill Kylo.
Yeah.
And then one of them will take over my position.
But like in my mind, I'm like thinking like, I think he said that because he knew Kylo wouldn't actually kill her, but like I feel like that's a stretch.
I mean, you could tell this movie had a lot of studio meddling. I'm sure people were flipping out after the reaction to Last Jedi. Like, what the fuck do we do?
Okay. You know what? Just, I want to bring up a side note here.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of YouTube channels that were predicting what this movie was going to be about. There were some that had fake, like, plot leaks. Yeah. And then there was one that had the actual plot leak. And I read it, but not knowing that it was the actual plot of the movie. Like, the movie leaked beforehand. So, like, I had unknowingly, like, read what happened in the movie. But, like, when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds fucking terrible. I'm like, there is no way they would do this. And then the movie opens up with Kylo on Mustafar. The way that plot leak opened, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But then I just waited to see how it all played out. And I was like, all right, you know what? I was mostly satisfied. I enjoyed the ride here. I will say this is probably one of my favorite third acts in a Star Wars film.
Yeah, I think it even could have gone even harder though. Like people always talk about, if you showed when she hears all the people, like that was really cool. But if you had shown the ghosts, that would have been like Endgame level, like hype moments. Yeah. If like Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, Samuel Jackson.
I get why they didn't do it, because they wanted to appeal to the market in China. But like Star Wars doesn't do good in China anyway.
Right. I just want to, can you imagine, like, as cool as that scene is with her, like, blocking the lighting, imagine if everyone's standing behind her, like, giving her strength and shit. That would be fucking epic. I would be rewatching that scene on loop over and instead I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty cool moment.
I also hate the people that say that's a ripoff of Endgame, where it's like, I am inevitable, and I am Iron Man. And then where Palpatine's like, I am the Sith. And she's like, I am all the Jedi. I'm like, they didn't rip off Aang.
No, that's just something that happens in everything. Watch an anime from any decade, and that has happened at least once. I am Goku.
Exactly. All right, so I think the best way to attack this movie is to go play by play, or at least like mostly like, in sequential order, which we kind of already started with. We have the opening crawl where Palpatine comes back off screen, of course.
I just want to ask you about Palpatine. Do you think it was a good idea to have him come back?
It's tough because I feel like I'm right in the middle.
Yeah, like I understand the argument that it makes it seem like Anakin.
If I think
didn't matter.
Yeah.
But also, I like the idea that you can't get rid of someone that evil. Like, it'll linger.
Well, yeah, that's my whole thing too. Like the whole thing we know about Palpatine is that he can cheat death.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes that whole opera scene more important. And I wish because they connect it with him saying the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many.
It should be enough for people to like understand how he came back.
Yeah, like obviously
we don't need an explanation as to how he came back. Like that should be subtle enough.
I honestly like the way they did it. I don't think we needed I was floating in the wreckage of the Death Star 2 and a ship came and
I got burned in the reactor.
I just didn't really need that stuff. I mean, because Palpatine, I think the problem is it's up for debate whether JJ and Lawrence Kasdan or whatever knew if they wanted to bring Palpatine back in this trilogy. I think if you had set that up a bit more in the first two movies,
That's where I was gonna go with this. Yeah.
it could have been
I mean,
way better of like a.
I mean, you brought up a good point because people say that I'm gonna touch back on that too in a minute. But people say that like this movie makes Anakin's sacrifice like worthless, but I feel like not really because they hinted at the fact that the Force is unbalanced again
Mhm.
in the previous two movies. Like, I don't think the Force is gonna stay balanced forever. You
Yeah,
know, there's
I don't think the prophecy meant that like for all time there's no evil ever again.
exactly. Yeah. Like the way I look at it is it's like Anakin brought balance to the Force back in that moment.
Mhm.
And whether or not Rey did or not is still up for debate. But I kind of look at it as Anakin brought it back. Rey preserved that balance.
Yeah, I like that.
That's how I look at it. But going back to shit, I lost my train of thought again.
Oh my god, it's goddamn Palpatine.
With my mind.
Well, I mean, you could argue, I suppose, that Snoke kind of leads to Palpatine, but they didn't make that evident enough in like the Last Jedi and Force Awakens that he's connected.
I got my train of thought back.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi?
With Palpatine being the main villain, like everything, their idea of tying all three trilogies together was to just bring Palpatine back. But I think, like you said, you needed a couple clues in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi to prove that this was Palpatine. Like if Palpatine showed up, like when they do the zoom out in The Last Jedi with everybody on the ship, like right before we go back to Canto Bight and we see the kids and like the legend of like Luke Skywalker, and they're playing with the Luke Skywalker action figure, the really wooden straw Luke Skywalker action figure. What if like before we did that scene and it zooms out of the Millennium Falcon with like Rey and like Leia sitting there, we just see a ship in the distance and Palpatine's just like just cackling, you know? I mean, it would have been
maybe.
silly.
But like, even if you had made it kind of more obvious that Snoke wasn't his own person and was some kind of puppet and was like answering to something else, like, or hinting that there's something weird happening in the unknown regions, you know, like that could have been cool. Like, what if they had been like, where did the First Order come from? Oh, I don't know, some crazy shit in the unknown regions was happening, and like, but because it's like, it's just there's not enough setup where you can buy that like, oh, Palpatine's over there, and he's been secretly building this fucking giant fleet.
Dude, I have a question about that fleet.
Yeah, like, I mean, I have millions of questions about it. Who mans them? Where did they get all the people?
well, dude, if there's already, when he's bringing them up from the ground, you hear dan, 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 dan. Like, if there's already crew members on those ships for how long? Probably 30 fucking years? Like,
yes.
Wouldn't they all suffocate underground?
I think they needed to, give more. I mean, that's a problem I had, like I said in the previous videos. They needed to give more exposition in this trilogy on the whole, like of like the world in general. Like, give us like general thoughts of like how does the First Order operate? How does the Resistance operate? Where did this Final Order thing come from? Like, they just, any sort of explanation would have been nice. As cool as it looked, as cool as the Sith troopers looked for 5 seconds when they're on screen, as disappointing as the Knights of Red were, we'll get to that. Jesus Christ, you got me hyped for no reason, movie.
Yeah. I'm cool with Snoke. As I said in the previous video, I was cool with Snoke dying because I knew that they would probably explain it in this. They end up explaining it in this that he's a clone of Palpatine.
He's in a jar.
Yeah, with tubes. People were not happy.
I created Snoke. I mean, I think it makes fucks. Like I said in the last videos, if you don't do something like that, Snoke is just a ripoff of Palpatine. At least now it's like, that's why he acts like Palpatine.
Yeah. Well, and that's my whole thing too. I'm like, see, at least it's Palpatine, and at least it's like people were acting like we weren't going to get an explanation as to who.
I mean, I didn't know if we were. I was like, and even we did, but it was still like just like a blink and you'll miss it. Like, there's Snoke over there in that jar.
I know, but still, like, I don't know. All right, so after this whole
Kill the girl.
scene on Exegol, which can we talk about Exegol? People complain it's way too blue. It is not that blue.
It's badass. Okay, I like it a lot. I just feel bad for people who do have like epileptic problems with like flashing lights, because the third act of this movie must be impossible to watch because it's just constantly.
Even that opening scene, dude.
Yeah, it's like whoa.
Yeah. So we get there, and then we cut to I believe it's the Falcon, right? Is it right after that?
I think so. And
we have the worst Falcon scene of the trilogy. Not a bad scene, but it's not my favorite Falcon chase scene of the trilogy. Because here's how you know the pacing is all over the place. So they find a spy in the First Order from this dude named Bulio, who is surprisingly voiced by Mark Hamill. Didn't know that.
Win the war.
Who gets brutally decapitated later on.
Yeah.
Poor Bulio. The unsung hero of this scene is definitely Claude, though.
Yeah, but I don't get, like, I mean, Star Wars is full of weird looking background characters, but like if they make it seem like he might like be part of the group or something, and then he's not in like the rest of the movie.
No. But then so then we get they get the information, which is insanely quick. Poe, we need more time. 2 seconds later, Poe, we got it.
Yeah, I mean it's got that energy back that I think Last Jedi didn't have, that J.J. Abrams captures, which is like the frantic, like
just keeps.
Oh my God,
here's where I think the pacing comes into play here too, and where it's a problem. They literally light speed skip to like 6 different planets in the span of 2 seconds.
That was kind of cool, even though I think it completely breaks the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, me too. Like, it was cool, but
yeah,
last chance, maybe forever.
I mean, it was set up fine because they did that in Last Jedi on like a bigger scale, and then they set up hyperspace tracking in Last Jedi, and now it's just like, oh well, now TIE fighters can track them, I guess. So they follow them through. It's kind of like, I wouldn't have done that, but like I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. So then we go back to Agent Kloss, and we see Rey training, and then that's where we learn that somehow Palpatine returned, and this is where we have to go on this whole fetch quest to Pasana. And I actually Secret some of the Sith too. Dominic Monaghan, man.
Yeah, Dominic Monaghan taking his screen time from Rose. Asshole, Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen, I thought Dominic Monaghan was going to be a Knight of Red. Do you know how disappointing it was that he was just some guy?
Some random guy.
Like, I want him to be some asshole Knight of Red who's like fucking Mary from Lord of the Rings just as a jerk. Huckleberry Fairy.
But yeah, we get to Pasana, which I've said in the previous videos, I defend Pasana. People are just like, oh, now Sand Planet, huh?
Oh, you got the Aki-Aki. Aki-Aki.
The Aki-Akis, man.
And I brought this up before. That one little girl is mean, and she should not ever act like a jerk. Oh, you don't know who your parents are? You don't have a last name? Shut up, girl. I mean, some of them are cute and weird at the same time.
They're like deformed pigs.
Yeah, and then you had like the speeder bikes that were on like treads.
Okay, I didn't mind that, but I gotta say this about
they fly now. They fly now.
I gotta say this about the speeder bike chase, and it could just be me. I don't know if you feel the same way. I'm probably the only one that picked up on this. So after they meet with Lando, we find out that there's this Jedi hunter named Ochi.
Hell yeah, Lando. Lando's fucking back, and it's great. Billy D.
Dude, Billy D. Does Billy D look like he's like pushing 85 in this movie?
No, he doesn't. He looked great. I was so happy to see Lando.
I know.
He should have been in episode 8. He should have been DJ. That was fucking... No, he should have been on Canto Bight. I will fight to the death.
At least he didn't die. But also, I don't like the little subtle hint they give us at the end. We'll get there.
Lando's little guy, though, in the front of his truck where it's like, hey, let's go.
Oh!
That guy's the best.
Leia sent me a transmission. You needed to buy it. Okay.
I know. Okay.
This little Muppet just, okay. I was like, yes, more of that guy, please.
I know, right? Oh, dude, that guy's awesome. But, okay, but going to the speeder chase.
I'm going to find that guy's name.
God, dude, we looked at it's not a guy, the creature's a she.
Oh, okay, well she's the best.
But going to the speeder chase.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the only one that feels like this. Doesn't it feel like the beginning of the chase is like cut?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the whole action scene.
Because the stormtroopers find them, like, there they are, let's get them over there, and then the whole action scene is just like, how'd they get to the middle of the fucking desert?
I don't know. I always thought it was weird. Oh, I say always. It's only been like 2 years. I thought it was weird that speeder bikes, like, why would you have them on treads when they can just float over stuff?
Yeah, but it was. I get what they were doing. They were trying to do something new, especially with the stormtroopers with the jetpacks.
Yeah,
but that was cool.
They fly now.
Yeah,
they fly now. I'm like, okay, JJ.
Like, I'm cool with the treads. I think I don't mind the treads, but we got to talk about how cool Finn is in this scene, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it, dude. I get Finn gets shafted. But I like the idea, if you're not going to make him a Jedi, I like the idea that you promote him to like a general within the Resistance.
Yeah, Finn got shafted, but he got less shafted than he did in Last Jedi. They gave him something to do here.
Yeah.
Well, not much, but something.
I've always loved that little moment in the speeder bike chase on Pisana where the Stormtrooper tread goes into like the rock and it blows up and he just goes, yeah!
I mean, it's just Finn's move, you know. He's always
it's either that or Ray. Ray. So then after the speeder bike chase, they fall into the Chamber of Secrets, right?
Listen, that snake thing was awesome. I like that. Serpent.
I also like when Poe whips out his flashlight and then Rey whips out her lightsaber.
That was a funny little one. I mean, this one definitely,
Dude,
getting into that, it felt like the same tone as Force Awakens. It definitely had the JJ tone.
Can we talk about the Force healing for a minute?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Exactly.
It's the Force. Anything's possible. I fucking hate that shit where people are like, no, you can't do that. Says who? It's the Force.
Exactly.
Are
you the head of this universe? No.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It made sense.
Yeah, it's like, I get it. It's like it's a power.
Force is about life, man. So giving people some energy of life makes sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like she healed. What was it? She healed the serpent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could manipulate the midichlorians to prevent someone from dying. Is it possible to learn this power?
Too bad Anakin didn't know at that time.
Not from a Jedi.
Yeah, she healed Salazar Slytherin's serpent, all right? Yeah, so we get off of Pisana. We basically...
you forgot about the best part of Pisana, okay? Which is the Knights of Ren standing on a mountain. Okay. And that's it.
Okay. No, okay. There's another thing I forgot about Pisana, okay? They do this whole fake out eventually where they do this wide shot of Chewie walking back to the ship. I remember sitting there in the theater. I was like, "Don't you fucking dare, JJ! I will murder you!"
No way. But then I remembered, I'm like, "Oh, there was 2 ships there. Yeah, obviously he's alive." And then 5 seconds later, they show that he's alive. So I'm like, what was the point? To make Rey feel upset, I guess. To show Force lightning, I guess. But
yeah. I mean, it was cool to see her like do like a front flip and like cut off like Kylo's.
Yeah. Dude, some of the visuals in this movie are fucking awesome.
And people complain about the fact that that she's like jumping super high and Kylo's jump. I'm like, did you not watch like the Phantom Menace
or like Return of the Jedi when Luke does like a quadruple backflip to get away from Vader? I will not fight you, Father.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just, I mean, it's just interesting. Like, by this point in the movie, I was like, okay, we're moving at like a brisk pace, but like it's kind of an adventure.
Once we get
the Knights of Ren are gonna do something cool at some point. I'm sure.
They just skulk around and then get wasted by Kylo at the end.
What do you think about Kylo repairing his mask? Well, I say repairing. It doesn't look very repaired.
No. Okay. There's 2 ways you can look at this.
Yeah.
The first way is the way I don't really look at it, but I understand why people look at it this way. The first way is this is what JJ was set up in The Force Awakens. So it's like, oh, JJ had him wear the mask in The Force Awakens. Rian Johnson didn't have him wear the mask in The Force Awakens. Now JJ wants him to wear the mask again. But that's not how I look at it. The way I look at it is that we literally saw him in The Force Awakens murder his own father. It was like, oh man, maybe this dude's gonna be evil, but like we know he wears the mask because he's conflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in The Last Jedi, he literally learns from Snoke that he killed Han for nothing. And now that was him like getting rid of the mask, saying, I'm just gonna take over the First Order, I'm gonna kill Snoke, I'm gonna be the complete most evil person on the planet. And now I kind of look at it as like, oh, he's conflicted again because now Palpatine's like a threat to his power.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought it was him trying to like reaffirm like,
Yeah.
this is who I am. But like the cracks, I kind of like the symbolism that like it's not actually like working. Yeah. And I just wish they had gone all the way with it. Like I figured by the end of this movie, that mask is gonna crack apart again. Like maybe when he becomes Ben Solo again, like there would be some sort of symbolism further with that. But then he just stops wearing it halfway through the movie, and I'm like, okay. There could have been a really cool visual. Okay.
So, speaking of Kylo, we know he gets redeemed in this movie. Were you one of those people that wanted him redeemed, or were you one of those people that didn't?
Before I watched the movie, I wasn't really on board with the redemption, just because I thought it would be kind of a retread of Vader.
Exactly.
But I actually like the way the movie handles Ben Solo coming back, where they don't really like it's just interesting the way they handle it, because the scene where it happens is really good and like believable. And then when he's Ben Solo, he doesn't actually like really say much as Ben Solo, but he's just like a force of good that is helping Rey, and like
he actually smiles.
Yeah, like, and he does like the Han shrug, and he's like, and he shoots like Han, and it's just pretty cool. And I just really, they won me over with that. I to the point where I'm like, he should live. Because now, if you're gonna redeem him, don't do the Vader thing and have him die during his big redemption. Have him have to live with his his guilt and with his I tell you, I am okay with him dying overall, but like I didn't flip out in theaters like some of his like big fans did, where they're like, you motherfuckers killed Ben, he's an innocent child, and I'm like, he's a mass murderer. But okay. I was okay. I mean, I think it would have been cooler if when the moment where everyone's like, everyone always talks about, which we'll get to, but the moment of Rey Skywalker, if instead of just Rey being there, if it was like, who are you? I'm Ben Solo. Like, that would have been like, and then she's Rey Skywalker and he's Ben Solo, and they found who they really are together, and they're gonna go be happy training Jedi or some shit. Like, that would have been cool. Like, I would have been totally down. Like, if he had to, like, face the consequences for his actions. Like,
well, could you imagine telling Chewie, be like, "Hey, dude, the dude that killed your best friend is coming to work with us in the Resistance." Chewie would be like,
I mean, speaking of which, dude, when they kidnapped Chewie, they have concept art, so I know it crossed their minds. But you put a goddamn scene of Kylo Ren talking to captive Chewie. That could have been fucking amazing.
Oh. I didn't see that concept art. I had no idea that was even an idea.
The art of Rise of Skywalker, and in that book, there's the concept images of him talking to him. But like, imagine Kylo Ren having an outlet to vent his like where he's at, mentally and emotionally, to Chewie, who is just like, or just and like fucking rippling out, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. You killed Han. You're not my nephew anymore. Fuck you. That would have been awesome. And like, it could have been super emotional, and they just never did. Like, you captured Chewie for no reason. Then, if you had captured Chewie and had that scene, I would have been like, okay, yeah, have the fake Chewie death. Yeah.
Speaking of like extra scenes, there's rumors out there that there is like an extended JJ cut.
There's a lot of pictures of different scenes that definitely were filmed, but I mean that happens in all movies.
I will say this movie definitely needed another 20 minutes.
Yeah, it reeks of studio meddling, a lot of it, unfortunately. But I think because there was such kind of a visceral like reaction about Last Jedi, I think they were scared to let a director have too much say, which I think Colin Trevorrow, we should talk about. He had a draft of this movie. He was going to make Episode 9 for years. He was the director, and the Duel of the Fates, which is a fucking stupid title. Duel of the Fates is Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul, and Obi-Wan is there.
It's the lightsaber battle that determines the fate of the Jedi.
Yeah, it is not Episode 9. I also, anything I read about or heard about, like some cool ideas, yes, some very cool things I would like to see. Also some things, some things where I'm like, no.
Lightsaber guillotine, nope.
No. Yeah. I'm good. No, thank you. So I think that might have been probably when they're like, we want someone we can like kind of not control per se, but JJ would play it safer than like some other people.
Does he really play it safe though? Because
he takes weird risks. This movie's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Emperor Palpatine's back.
Take that whole force power where you can move matter from place to place with the Force from The Last Jedi. He expands on that even further in this.
Well, that's what I think we should talk about. The fact that this movie gets so many people are like, I hate this movie because it ignores everything The Last Jedi did.
But then,
but
you know what the funny part is? You know what the funny part is? Those are the same people that hate The Last Jedi.
I'm just like, okay, did it completely follow through with everything The Last Jedi set up?
No.
Did it completely Did it completely contradict things, though? Not really, because when Kylo Ren says your parents are nobody, technically your parents were nobodies. I don't know their names. Do you know their names? I don't fucking know their names. Like, were they one of them the child/clone or whatever of Palpatine? Sure, but also I don't know his name. He's a nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Kylo Ren could have been lying, or he whatever. Like there was still wiggle room to make Rey somebody. Yeah. As much as I like the notion that she was nobody and all that, like when Rian Johnson wrote The Last Jedi, it's clear that that's what he wanted. He wanted Rey to not have a super special parent. But J.J. Abrams was like, yeah, but in Force Awakens, I set up a special parent, so I'm gonna go do that. And you didn't really make it. I'm gonna take that wiggle room you put, and I'm just gonna go like, no, yeah.
Which is honestly, like, as somebody who loves The Last Jedi, like, I'm fine with her being like a Palpatine, because here's why. Sure, like, she's no longer a nobody; she's a something. But I still have a firm belief that this movie still honors the idea that you don't have to come from somewhere to make a difference in the world. Like, just look at Zori Bliss.
Look at every other Jedi ever.
Yeah.
Like, I never understood that when people were like, well, I mean, The Last Jedi solely made me believe that I could be a Jedi because I wasn't raised by... I'm like, who's Obi-Wan's parents? Nobody's. Like, every other Jedi came from nothing.
But then also, part 2 to that is that here's why I'm okay with it, even though I love The Last Jedi. It's because you give Rey not only an internal conflict, but an external conflict. Like, it feels like there's more of a rising, like, pressure and a more, like, rising urgency within her to take out, like, the actual threat of the galaxy now that she knows who she is.
Yeah, and I mean, she hates who that is. It's not like she found out and it was good news. It was like, oh, so like these people who have taken me in are like my new family. Turns out my actual family is the people that like fucked over this family for like generations.
The only thing I hate about this reveal is the whole, you have power. You have his power. You are a Palpatine. You're his granddaughter. It's like, Kylo, we get it. Once you said you have his power, we got it. You don't have to add on, you are a Palpatine. You're his granddaughter. Yeah, buddy. Like, just shut up now.
I like the notion.
Yeah, people say like JJ played it safe with this. Like I mentioned like the Force power from the Force Awakens, or not the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, that he brought back and expanded upon.
Oh, super.
Dude, he even expanded upon the idea of the Force itself, like a dyad in the Force.
Yeah, that's something I wish that had been like, maybe they had started to explain that more in Last Jedi and then built upon it here, because it feels kind of like a little too late, like, oh, that's why they're like yin and yang, like it's like cool, but like so it's about to end.
but it's like we are seeing like new stuff. Like, I don't understand the argument that this movie plays it safe.
Yeah. As far as the I like the notion too that like he's Darth Vader's grandson and she's Palpatine's granddaughter. Like,
Yeah.
I like that notion that, like, those two guys, like I remember I saw a meme where they're sitting in the opera and Anakin turns to Palpatine and he goes, you know, my grandson's gonna make out with your granddaughter. I'm like, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But you know what makes it even better though? It's like Star Wars has always been about the two families.
Families.
With each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's the two main families that define Star Wars are the Skywalkers and the Palpatines.
Yeah, we just didn't know Palpatine had a family, but like,
yeah,
Palpatine was always the big problem hanging over the Skywalkers. He corrupted Anakin. He tried to corrupt Luke. Turns out in this, he corrupted Kylo Ren through Snoke. I'm like, okay, yeah, we got to get rid of this guy. Okay, we got to get rid of this guy. He's just haunting the family tree, and we got to kick his ass and get this fucking bird off our tree.
But like it makes sense. And that's kind of another reason why I'm okay with them bringing Palpatine back, because it's like, I get it. It's a safe way to connect the three together, but at the same time, it's like, this is what has defined Star Wars up to this point. Like, I get it. You have like your Kenobis, you have Yoda, but like, yeah, Kayane Mundi,
man, Plo Koon.
But like, when I think about like family names in Star Wars, the two that always come to mind are the Skywalkers and the Palpatines.
How dare you forget the Lars?
because those are the two families that are literally at conflict for all 9 episodes.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if Palpatine's like in like manipulating stuff from the Senate in the prequels, like he's still like the one manipulating all of the events, you know?
Yep. But no, I mean, I'm cool with her being a Palpatine overall. Like, I understand maybe some of the anger from people.
Yeah, like I just don't like the scene where Kylo tells her. I think that's a poorly written scene. But like,
it could have been executed better.
The concept of her being a Palpatine, I'm cool with.
Well, I mean, it makes after Force Awakens for 2 years, all I heard was, how is she so strong? How is she so strong? How does she know the Force? How is she so strong? I know, and then when it's like, oh, she's a Palpatine, I'm like, okay, there you go, guys. Okay, like, are you happy now? Like, that's how.
People still aren't happy.
That's how she came from fucking the greatest Sith Lord of all time. Okay, moving on.
Stuff I don't like in this film. Actually, I'll say this. I never was a fan at first of Hux being the spy, but on multiple rewatches it makes sense. I just think that the scene where it's revealed isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean, I love the twist because, like, to me, the second they said there was a spy, I'm like, it's fucking Hux because he fucking hates Kylo Ren. And if Kylo Ren's the supreme leader, you bet your ass Hux is gonna be like sniveling somewhere, being like, I'm gonna fucking ruin his plans.
I don't get why people say it doesn't make sense. Like, the clues
Hux would never be a spy. I'm like, yeah, he would. If Kylo Ren's in charge.
The clues in both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are there.
They firmly established they hate each other.
Yeah,
like flat out, he was gonna shoot Kylo Ren when he was unconscious.
Dude, their first scene together in the trilogy is literally them arguing about Hux's tactics for recruiting the stormtroopers.
Yeah, if Kylo Ren was leading the First Order doesn't matter to Hux if he has to listen to that guy.
Yeah,
bet your ass he's trying to ruin that guy and make him look bad.
Yeah, he even says like, he doesn't care, like, if the Resistance wins. He just wants Kylo Ren to, like, lose it all.
Yeah, because he fucking hates Kylo. He's like, this guy makes me look bad all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this guy.
Here's what I hate, though. I hate it. It's a combo of writing and Domhnall Gleeson's acting, because he's just like, I'm the spy!
I actually thought that. I remember laughing in the theater because it was like, I'm the spy. And they just got a Poe. What?
Well, dude, that's what, like, I get it. Like, that I get it. Like, you're like, if you're gonna do a twist like that, though, why play it for comedic effect?
Oh no, it was just because Hux was already a joke in Last Jedi, so let's just keep him as a joke, and then we'll kill him.
Well, I've always loved that where it's like, I knew it. No, you did not. Oh, we didn't even talk about Dio yet.
Oh yeah, Dio's great. I love Dio. I own a Dio.
Do you have Dio?
I do. Yeah, he's not in this room, but
Can we stop with this notion too that Dio and BB-8 were here to replace R2 and C-3PO? I mean, R2 basically did get replaced, but
yeah.
Have we been replaced? What did I tell you earlier? Nobody's getting replaced.
I mean, R2 is iconic. He's my favorite character, like hero in these movies. But I love BB-8 too. Like they made him different enough where I didn't really.
I mean, it's sad, yeah, because R2 is in this movie and he literally does nothing. But you know who does something?
He gets zapped.
You know who does something? You know who does something though? Little Benny Solo.
Ben's Solo.
Yeah. Also, something I don't like, and I don't think it was a good idea in the first place. This fleet of Star Destroyers has Death Star tech attached to it.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, and they use
Starkiller Base.
Yeah. Like JJ should have known that was too far.
If you have a fleet of 1,000 super duper Star Destroyers, you don't need to kill planets. You can just send them all somewhere and they'll just bombard the planet until there's fucking nothing left. Like that would be cooler.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we're totally skipping over the Kijimi part because we have one of the best characters in the sequel trilogy, Babu Frick. Yeah. Nice.
He's the best.
Yeah, I can't believe we almost forgot Babu Frick.
Babu.
Yeah.
Hey. That was amazing. Like
Dude,
that little puppet.
He was a scene stealer, and then the whole
scene he was so good.
Yeah, and then that whole part on Kijimi where they go to Kijimi to wipe C-3PO's memory, that's actually a really good scene. I get it was in the trailer, but watching that scene, knowing where C-3PO was, I don't know. I guess if you watch the original trilogy first, but if you're watching them in chronological order, knowing where C-3PO starts and then where he is up to that point, it's damn sad.
Yeah, I just wish, like I said, I wish they'd kept the sacrifice because it felt more right than killing C-3PO. C-3PO is the memory of him and R2-D2. But.
It made sense too that he would be programmed not to read Sith language.
Yeah, all that I thought worked well. I like that he was the one who chose I will do this. I'm good with it. Everything we've been through, all this time,
this whole thing hinges on me right now.
Yeah, but I just wish R2 was there too. That would have been goodbye, old friend. I would have been ah.
You know what else is stupid though in this movie? What? The concept of the dagger. How the fuck is Palpatine that dumb?
How does the dagger know you will be standing in that exact hill to be able to see the curve? I'm I don't understand. This is national treasure
not only that, but why are the coordinates that lead back to Palpatine inscribed on the dagger? Is he that stupid?
They just needed a plot thing to make something happen.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. Which I did like though that Kef Bir was a moon of Endor.
Yeah, I liked that. I like that we go to the Death Star ruins. Seeing that throne room again was really cool.
Yeah, and then hearing the creaky Star Wars theme.
Oh, also by the way, that Kijimi fight between her and Rey, Kylo and Rey, when they're both in two different places, but they're fighting through the Force. That was so well done.
That's a great fight.
I fucking love that fight. No one talks about it. That was one of the most visually interesting Star Wars fights.
Oh, I know, dude. And they're slashing objects, so the objects from Kijimi are actually on Kylo's ship.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
It's amazing.
I was damn.
It's probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the fight on the Death Star was pretty cool. I just wish
they're kind of fighting for no reason though.
Yeah, there needed to be more stakes and there need to be more oomph. And by oomph, I mean you get a goddamn John Williams bop up in there for at least part of the fight.
Well, okay. No. Here's what I like about that fight. The first half of the fight doesn't have a musical score. And I think the entire fight would have worked better if it didn't have a musical score.
don't know. Like, I never felt the hype. Like, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, okay,
I understand where you're coming from. Like, because if you're gonna put music in that scene, like that is the last lightsaber battle we're getting in the entire saga. Like episode 1, you had Duel of the Fates. Episode 3, you had Battle of the Heroes and a hero's downfall or something, whatever it was called. And then you had all the other cool music in the original trilogy. You needed something that was as iconic as like Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes.
Yes, it's either something completely new that would be like memorable for years to come. That John Williams is like, this is my last Star Wars movie. I'm gonna fucking kill it.
That's another thing about the Rise of Skywalker, though. I think that this is his weakest score of the trilogy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I think you had a chance where I remember rumors that didn't end up panning out, where people were like, he's gonna use themes from all 9 movies. I'm like,
he said he was going to.
That'd be so cool. Like they should have done that.
Yeah, because he said he was going to, but he did. Though the one theme he used that I liked is when Luke raises his X-wing out of the. Yeah, I like
some
that.
of the callbacks were good, but like that lightsaber fight, I think the first part, with all the waves, could have been like no music. But once you get like, you could have maybe ramped up the tension a bit, and then you could have had something fucking epic.
I also hate the people that just say, I hate the people too that say like, how is Rey beating Kylo? I'm like, she's not beating Kylo. She literally loses. The only reason she gets the upper hand is because Leia intervenes with the Force, which we haven't even talked about Carrie Fisher yet.
We will.
Yeah,
we'll
but like,
I mean, I just want to mention first, one of the things from Duel of the Fates script from College of Raro that I wish they carried over into this.
Yeah.
Rey's lightsaber should have been a double-bladed lightsaber, okay?
Yeah, it should have been her staff.
Yeah, like if you're going to set up in Force Awakens, she has her staff, and she's iconic with her staff, and then episode 8, she's got the lightsaber, and then the lightsaber splits in half. You put the crystals on either side. I'm
gonna sound like a spoiled little kid here. I wish her lightsaber was yellow for the entire movie.
I mean, that would have been cool. I mean, but I don't know. I feel like she should have had double bladed. It would have been really cool and interesting to see a hero with that.
They shouldn't have rebuilt the Skywalker lightsaber.
No, they should have turned it into something else, which should have been the double bladed lightsaber. Small thing, whatever, really. Yeah. But like, it's just one of those things where that made Rey stand out like that. You would have seen Rey with a double bladed lightsaber. You'd have been like, oh yeah, episode 9.
Yeah, but but regardless, like, Leia intervening in this scene literally leads to probably the best scene in not only the entire movie, but probably the entire saga. It's up there. Each of these movies has 3 of the best scenes in the saga. The Force Awakens, the Han and Kylo scene when Kylo kills Han. The Last Jedi, you have the Luke and Yoda scene. This one, you have another Luke and Han scene, which I don't...
Luke and Han.
Or Kylo, sorry.
Like, people wish there was a Luke and Han scene.
Which, I don't know how people are this dumb. I'm sorry. But how do people literally think Han is a Force ghost? It's physically impossible.
No, it's very clear if you're paying attention that this is all happening in Kylo's head. He's reliving the same conversation he had with his dad, except this time
he's wishing he did what he actually did.
Yes, he wished he had done something else because he's realized in that moment he just sensed that his mom is dead. And as we learned in Last Jedi, he couldn't kill his mom. Like, that was still the thing where he's like, I can't do that. So when she dies, he goes, and he feels that, and he feels that she died for him. He's like, oh shit, all my actions have just accomplished this. Like, my mom is dead. I killed my dad, which I still feel guilty about. What am I actually accomplishing? I'm about to kill this girl for no real good reason.
Exactly.
Like, it all comes, and then I love that scene because I didn't expect Harrison Ford to ever come back to Star Wars.
He doesn't give a shit about Star Wars.
Yeah, and then he showed up, and I'm like, holy shit!
Ben, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
You do.
Dad.
I know.
How much do you think he got paid for that?
Well, one of my favorite little memes is when Kylo throws his lightsaber into the ocean. You see General Grievous pop out of the water and catch it. I'll find the addition to my collection. Like, oh yeah, but yeah, it was a great scene,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't get why people don't get that scene. It's definitely not a Force ghost. It's definitely just Kylo's head.
If it was a Force ghost, Harrison Ford would have been in black and white. And
Yeah.
he would have had a weird glow around him.
We don't really need to talk about Jaina because I don't think, like I talked about before, I think they wasted the chance to do a Stormtrooper revolution.
Yeah, like I get what they were going for, where it was like, okay, there's like more stormtroopers that defected. It didn't come across as well as they think it did.
Yeah.
It would have worked for me if Jaina was there with like a whole giant group of like stormtroopers that defected.
Yeah, she had like 6 guys.
Not even.
Yeah. I mean, it's just her character was kind of like a.
Well, and then you have
not
that whole,
and she just was like Finn again. Like it was just.
well, but then you have that whole thing at the end too, where she talks to Lando and he's like, "So where are you from?" And she's like, "I'm not sure." And he said, "Well, let's find out." I'm like, "What, Lando? You work for Child Services or something?"
It's weird. It's like because apparently in early drafts she was Lando's daughter.
Which is what that's hinting at.
Which yeah, but the movie doesn't really make that clear. It doesn't really come across that
No,
like, oh, that means he's.
but like,
It's like some people interpreted that as Lando's hitting on this girl. Like it's not
I never
clear.
got that. No.
Like he's like, let's find out. Like it's not clear in the movie what that scene shouldn't be there because it doesn't make any sense.
It was clear. It was clear to me what they were like insinuating. Like, oh, it's his daughter. I'm like, oh god, no. Like we don't have to have everybody related to everybody.
I think honestly, like I said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Rose Tico as a character, but it is kind of shameful how little she is in this movie. Yeah. Like they completely bowed to the pressure of, and there are deleted scenes of her and Rey we have pictures of, and apparently she had more stuff with Leia that they just couldn't quite figure out how to make it work.
Well, too, and then like going back to the whole Leia thing for a minute, not to cut, because you are making a good point about Rose. Like going on to Leia, they said they were going to use not only deleted scenes from The Force Awakens, but from The Last Jedi, and they didn't. They only used The Force Awakens.
I mean, it had to be hard. I can't really hold anything against them. I think they did really well with what they had.
Everything with Leia was amazing.
Yeah, like you can tell sort of.
Considering.
Yeah, you had to write around. You had to create scenes around her little dialogue.
What was Daisy Ridley hugging? When?
Yeah, a double. I don't know, but it's just they did an impressive job overall. The one thing though, Leia's face in that flashback scene that needed a couple more hours in the rendering because holy shit. Yeah. Luke looked amazing. Luke looked like straight out of Return of the Jedi. I was like, holy shit. But then Leia's like, and I'm like,
yeah, no. Especially for a big budget movie, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that needed a couple more minutes. But I liked that even though obviously you had to work around the unfortunate thing with Carrie being gone, but they made Leia still a big part of the plot.
They did.
I liked learning that she was trained as a Jedi.
Which I always thought if they had put that in a movie, it would have made sense anyways. Because like, why wouldn't she train as a Jedi?
Yeah, in the original trilogy, they came up with that third movie twist of, she's a Skywalker and could be, there's another. Like, she could learn. And in the old EU books, she became like a Jedi. Yeah. I mean, I think it made sense. I just felt like I wish they had done that earlier, because you had to kind of retroactively make that make sense.
Yeah. But go back to Rose for a minute.
Yeah, Rose. I think you could have cut out Jaina and just replaced all her scenes with Rose. Like Jaina wasn't such a big, new, interesting character that you like needed her. You could have just.
Dude, once you learn that Carrie passed, like you could have just rewritten the Rose scenes and just had her with the gang. The whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, they even go out of the trouble of her being like, Finn being like, "Come on, Rose," and she's like, "No, I'm staying behind. The internet hates me too much." And it's like,
yeah,
but like we could have grown to love like people like me who never went after Kelly Marie Tran, who never had any problem with her acting, like who just weren't huge on the way the character was used in Last Jedi.
Dude, and honestly, like I don't even hate the character.
No, like she's kind of whatever to me. Like I think she takes away from Finn in Last Jedi, but everything takes away from Finn in Last Jedi, so I can't really blame her. I blame Rian Johnson writing Finn in Last Jedi. I mean, I never had a huge problem with her, and I do think it's rude and insulting to bow to the internet trolls and cut her out of the movie. Like, even if that wasn't the case, it's how it came across. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it might not have been intentional. They might have meant to give her more, but it just
because Chris Terrio, the Oscar-winning actor of the billion-dollar hit BVS,
the writer,
he explicitly stated that like she wasn't in the movie because she had more scenes with Leia and they just didn't have enough Leia footage. Whether or not you want to believe that's true, completely up to you. I mean, for all we know, it just doesn't come across in the movie. But bringing up Chris Terrio though, was he the right person to co-write this with JJ?
You know, listening to his interviews and stuff, I do think he had a lot of good ideas. And I think a lot of times he actually does have good defenses for some of the problems people have. Mm-hmm. But considering he wrote BVS, I will always hold that against him. He was not the right person for this movie because anybody involved with BVS should be nowhere near Star Wars.
I think it would have been beneficial if Lawrence Kasdan came back.
Yeah. Or even his son.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think you could have had someone that, like, I think for all Solo's faults, John Kasdan.
Yeah, it's John Kasdan. Which is weird because there's a Jake Kasdan too who did the Jumanji movies.
John Kasdan's love for Star Wars comes through in Solo.
Yeah.
Like, the movie is flawed for sure. It wasn't necessary, probably not. But his love for that universe comes through. Yeah. And I kind of wish they'd gotten someone like that to try and end this whole saga.
I remember when it said like, oh, like JJ's coming back. I was like, okay, like I don't mind JJ's directing style. I mean, he got rid of the lens flares, thank God. But then it's like, oh, he's co-writing it with Chris Terrio. I was like, the guy who wrote Justice League and BVS. I mean, he wrote one good movie, which was Argo, but those other two, no.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, you could have found someone else probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish they did the best they could with Leia. Rose was unfortunately, I think, whether it was just circumstance or what, she should have been in the movie more.
Yeah, she should.
If only to flip off the assholes.
Yeah, exactly. It should have just been there to make people more pissed.
Also, Zori Bliss is fine when I watch the movie, but God, do I forget about her after it's over.
Do you wish she took off the mask?
No. I love that. I love the scene when she's talking to Poe and she's got the visor up.
I love that line she has too, where like, which I think that this is kind of what ties the three movies together, where people say there's no connection or no like overarching like story between the dramatic. Three. Yeah, look, they are being dramatic, but it's like, yeah, even if there isn't so much of an overall story, like there's overall like connecting themes.
Oh, and for sure.
I think that line that she says where it's like, they win by making you think you're alone, really ties back into the other two.
Oh yeah, where they start off with Force Awakens where Finn feels alone, Rey feels alone. Like, yeah, you know, I don't know. It's just Kylo Ren felt alone, you know. But yeah, Zori is kind of a character that's kind of a whatever character. Like, she was fine. But getting into like so towards the end, you get like the ghost Luke scene where Rey's feeling.
Mark Hamill didn't use shampoo that day.
Mark Hamill's hair looks weird that day. But I like the scene overall. I think people, when they're like, oh, we're just going to completely ignore The Last Jedi, and Luke is like, he loves lightsabers now. I'm like, did you watch The Last Jedi?
Did you watch the Yoda and Luke scene?
His whole arc in Last Jedi was he became a Jedi again. Like, by the end, he felt like a Jedi. Of course, it's showing that he's grown.
Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
Master Skywalker.
What are you doing?
And then he's a better person now. You fucking idiot. Pardon my French, but that just pissed me off so much. They're like, oh, it ignored everything. I'm like, what about the Force connection it expanded on? No, it ignored it. No, it did. What about Luke? Now he suddenly likes lightsabers. I'm like, no, I appreciated that because, like I said in the last video, I hate his whole.
Yeah.
Like it should. I'm like, oh no, yeah. He's like, you should be more careful with this. I'm like, thank you. That's Luke Skywalker again, but it's natural growth. It's not JJ going, fuck Last Jedi, Luke. It's like, no, that's where Luke was at the end of Last Jedi.
Exactly. And not to mention, too, in that scene, Rey is becoming what Luke was throughout most of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, he's like, don't fuck up. The internet will hate you. They will get mad at you.
They already hate you. Oh, anyway.
They will get mad at you for drinking out of the space cow.
They already hate her though, so it's a done deal. No, I mean, I do find it weird that he just has Leia's lightsaber like stashed like behind like his brick toilet. But
it's just green, okay? I love his green lightsaber. Where the hell did that go?
There's way too many MacGuffins in this movie.
There's a lot of MacGuffins. But you know what? It was kind of fucking cool, though, to have Rey have Kylo. Wait, who had which lightsaber? Which one did Ben Solo have at the end? Was that Luke's?
I think it was Luke's.
Which is awesome.
Luke's because Rey had Leia's, yeah.
Because now Kylo Ren, who all Force Awakens, he's like, that lightsaber belongs to me. And then now it's like in this movie, he's like, oh, now I'm worthy of wielding this fucking lightsaber.
Hold on. Side note. So I'm rewatching all the Harry Potter movies now. If they ever make like a trilogy and they have like another Snape character, Adam Driver.
Adam Driver would be a great Snape. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I like that. I like Luke. People were mad about, oh, Luke lifts the X-Wing out of the water. Oh, I'm like,
oh, like sitting on a log in Return of the Jedi is like somehow forgiven all of a sudden.
I'm just like, it's cool because it shows that people are like, it doesn't have a point, like it's just a callback. I'm like, no, it shows that Luke is now, as a dead person, that Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. He has now, full-blown Jedi can do what Yoda used to be able to do.
Yeah.
Like, he's showing Rey that same lesson. Like, you don't need to give up. Like,
we saw the third lesson?
No. I wish. That would have been a nice way to tie it all in and been like, oh, by the way, before I died, I told you there'd be 3 lessons, but Rian Johnson forgot. So now I will teach you the 3rd lesson. That would have been a nice way to tie it in. Okay? That would have been cool. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I think I understand the argument that people wanted more Luke in this movie. Like, I understand.
I would have been down. I would have loved for him to be alive. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even have to be alive. Like, if you had, like, another scene with him as, like, a ghost, other than the end scene where he pops up in the sky, you know, I think I would have been okay with another scene or something. What if he just whips out a lightsaber as a Force Ghost, you know? I mean, Force Ghosts can interact with the environment now.
He should have shown up with the other Force Ghosts at the end. It could have been everyone. Freddie Prinze Jr. with a ponytail as Kanan Jarrus. That would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah! Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka. It would have been fucking great.
Would they have used Ashley Eckstein, though, or would they have used...
No, but her voice was there. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome, though. I remember sitting in the theater, and for a second, I'm like, when that was building up, I'm like, holy shit, my mind was racing. I'm
Well,
like, we're going to get Force Ghost Jedi. And then
Yeah, I
Palpatine
remember
behind
thinking
him
that.
is going to be Force Ghost Sith.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I mean, okay, let's talk about the third act, because this is probably my favorite part of the movie. Because you have the big battle on Exegol going on.
Where they kill, what's his name? You know the guy who's in every J.J. Abrams
Snap!
movie. Snap! Snap! Like, we barely knew him. Sorry, Poe, I don't really know him.
Well, like, here's what makes this good. Like, the Resistance has hope that they can beat the Final Order, and then they're getting their shit handed to them. Like, legit. But then, you have Rey, like, on the ground in Exegol, like, going into the Breath of the Wild dungeon again, and she's going to meet Palpatine. What makes this place even more freaky than it was before is it looks like this giant stadium full of Sith cultists.
I remember watching the theater. I'm like, what the fuck are those things? Like, I thought they were like Sith ghosts that were gonna.
Yeah, they're just like, oh.
Like, that would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah, apparently they're called like the Sith Eternal or something. I'm like,
yeah, they're like a cult.
Cool. Yeah. I'm like, that's cool. Like they're like Palpatine cultists. Like, I'm like, that's
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm like, that is so damn like cool. Like, how many people, like these cultist people that he corrupted.
When Palpatine gets his mojo back after he sucks out the life force, and he's got that sick ass ascot.
It's like, look what you have made. I'm like, like a snazzy new belt and sweet new attire. Like, somehow a worse looking face.
Look what you have made. As once I fell, so falls the last Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, the third act I think is really good. I love seeing Ian McDiarmid just go nuts with Palpatine. Anytime he just goes nuts, I'm like,
dude, people should love this movie for the sole purpose that Palpatine says, "Do it again."
Now comes the return of the Sith. Boom!
As the Resistance falls, so falls the last Skywalker.
I love how he's just so petty. He's like, as I once fell, so too shall you. He's like, I'm still pissed. I got fucking thrown down a shaft. I'm gonna throw your ass down a shaft. I'm gonna throw your ass down a shaft. Then I'm gonna throw your ass down a shaft. And I'm gonna fuck up all you people.
Throw down a shaft.
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird though that he was like on a crane though?
Yeah, that was a weird choice. From the trailer, I remember thinking in that shot where you see him like approaching her, I'm like, he's on spider legs. Like, he's on Darth Maul robot spider legs. But no, he was on a weird like crane. Yeah. And also his plan, Palpatine, if you didn't say anything, if you didn't say, strike me down and I will take over your body or whatever, he could have just let her kill him.
Yeah, the plan's kind of weird because
he could have just let her kill him. Don't say anything and she'll kill you, and then you can take over.
Dude, does he really need that plan though? Where it's like, I'm gonna corrupt her body and make her Empress Palpatine. I'm like, why don't you just try and corrupt her like a normal person, like you did with Anakin, and make her?
But then he finds like they're a dyad of the Force, and he's just magically like, oh, I can just bring my body back. I'm good.
I did like the visuals though, where you see like his like skin like fading away and like being ripped apart. I was like, ew, he's got like black bone and finger.
I mean, I liked the like aesthetic with Palpatine in this, where it's like weird gothic mad scientist like crazy shit, like wizard sorcerer.
Dude, and then like going back to the whole like, oh, Rey's a Palpatine, she's got a battle with like both internal and external conflict of that. Like, she's also battling the conflict of like her, because she's a Palpatine, like turning to the dark side. Like,
she has that
you have that whole vision with Force Vision Rey that does the stupid hiss where she's like
I'm like, okay, yep. She had a double-bladed lightsaber. God damn it!
She had a cool lightsaber too.
Also on Exegol. So after spending the movie watching the Knights of Ren tromp around hallways, tromp around streets, tromp around alleyways, turn corners, and stand on mountaintops, they're like, all right, here's our big moment. And then they get fucking slaughtered.
Yeah, but at the same... Okay, this is why I'm somebody like you, okay? I did not want Kylo to get redeemed in this movie. Because the way I looked at it was the prequel trilogy, you have the fall of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
The original trilogy, you have the redemption of Darth Vader. So I was like, I didn't want them to go down the redemption path again. I wanted it to be, this guy has already fallen. We've tried to redeem him, but now there's no coming back. However, the Han Solo scene completely changed my mind on it. And then what they actually do with Kylo, or Ben Solo as he is now, on Exegol, like, I get the Knights of Ren don't do anything, but watching Ben Solo wreck house with that blue lightsaber was pretty fucking amazing. It was something we all wanted, and it totally delivered.
Yeah.
And then just the no-look shot.
Yeah, it was awesome. But the Knights of Ren, man.
I know. Totally waste.
And, like, the thing is, though, it's not like the movies themselves hyped them up.
Yeah.
Because,
like, it was the marketing.
It was the marketing, and it was, like, the fanboys who, for, like, 3 years, I had to hear, where are the Knights of Ren? Who are the Knights of Ren? I'm like, they mentioned them once. Like, who cares? But then when you see the designs, I'm like, they look pretty cool. They look cool.
But what I also love about that scene, though, where you see Ben, like, wrecking house with the Knights of Ren, is that it's intercut with Rey taking out the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool, how it kind of, like, shot back and forth, because it's like, oh, they're a dyad in the Force, so they're standing together and taking down the threat together.
Yeah, that still gives me chills when they stand next to each other and they both raise their lightsabers.
You just hear the Kylo theme, like, dun, 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 and then it cuts to Rey and it's like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Stand together, die together.
And what is Finn doing during this whole fight? Not much.
Standing on top of a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, which, okay, Finn, they follow through with what The Force Awakens had, like, implied, which is that Finn is Force sensitive. Fantastic. I love it. Unfortunately, this is where we should have been in Last Jedi. He should have been figuring that out in Last Jedi. And then in this movie, he could have started his Jedi training, and it would have been awesome. And instead, he's, like, just figuring it out. And they keep going, oh, Rey.
Horses on a Star Destroyer.
Rey, there's something I need to tell you. Rey, there's really something I need to tell you. And then we never see him tell her. I'm like, what the fuck?
I have a problem with that, though.
If you're going to set up multiple times, including a part where you're about to die, Rey, there's something I need to... And, like, if you're going to do that, then you bet your ass before the final battle or something, he should be like, Rey, I think I have the Force. And she should just look at him and be like, I know. And I'd be like, ah! Also, him and Rose really didn't go anywhere romantically, huh?
Dude, I was
that heart-wrenching scene in Last Jedi.
I was a Finn and Rey shipper, man.
Yeah, I feel like that would have made more sense, but that's just me. They clearly didn't care about Finn after Force Awakens, so typical Palpatine fashion. He doesn't turn off his lightning when he's getting zapped in the face.
So, he zaps himself.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that whole third act could have been even more hype if you brought in all the ghosts, because then it would have really felt like the big finale to, like, 9 movies.
Yeah, I get why they did it, because I feel like they were trying. But, like, at the same time, it's like China, like, doesn't have a mass appeal for Star Wars.
China is apparently very like
and that's why they didn't do it, because it's like. Because they were trying to appeal to, like, audiences in China. But Star Wars has never been a big hit in China. But at the same time, it's just like, we can't do it because
Give us more hype moments. Give us more hype moments. We created Star Wars. Us as America.
But it's like, yeah, I get it. It's like, oh, yeah, like, because, like, ghosts in, like, Chinese culture is, like, considered, like, I don't know. It was
like,
something.
It's like usually they don't like them to be like directly involved in things. Like you can have ghosts to like console with, but like you can't have ghosts that are gonna like save the day. You know?
Yeah. Something like that. So like I get that.
How did they feel about Return of the King? Those ghosts came and saved the day.
Yeah, I know. What did they feel about the Return of the King video game?
What did they feel about Eddie Murphy in the Haunted Mansion? But yeah, that would have been hype, dude.
How did they feel about the ghost pirates in Pirates 5?
Probably didn't like them.
No ghost sharks?
Ghost sharks, yeah. Yeah, I just feel like that would have been an extra bit of oomph.
Yeah, like
dude,
I get why.
My headcanon is this. This is what I wish happened. She's blocking, right, or whatever, and like all the Jedi pop up and they're like they lift her up and they're supporting her or whatever.
The Force will be with you.
Yeah. Rise, right? And they're like lifting her up and shit, and then like she's fighting Palpatine, right? And then all of a sudden, all those Sith cultists take off their hoods, and they're all like Sith ghosts, like fucking Christopher Lee's there, and like they all come swooping down as a ghost army, and then Luke Skywalker and all the Jedi light up their ghost lightsabers, and then there's a giant Duel of the Fates starts playing, and it's like, and it's just a massive fucking battle, and I'm like, holy shit, this is better than Endgame.
Which this movie got inevitably compared to, but we'll just say that Endgame was a great movie and was amazing, but has nothing to do with this.
This was a big year. 2019 was like we're ending the Avengers Phase 1, we're ending Star Wars, and we're ending Game of Thrones. And I'm like, Avengers Endgame definitely stuck the landing best.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and you know what? I'll say this right now. Thank God they all came out in 2019.
Oh God! If they had delayed like the ending of any of these, I would have been like, God damn it!
Because like you think about it, when you really think about it, this movie should have been delayed. Yeah. Especially
a couple more drafts.
Especially with how late they hired J.J. Abrams to come back.
It was definitely rushed. It was rushed.
Yeah.
And given the circumstances, I think they did a decent enough job, but it could have used like. 4 or 5 more drafts, probably.
Yes. But could you imagine, though, if they had pushed it back to 2020?
Yeah, that would have been weird. And then they would have been like, oh, 2021 now.
Which probably should have been the case from the get-go. That we should have got this movie this year. Because it should not have been 2-year release windows. It should have been
it always felt more epic when it was every 3 years. When the prequels were coming out, it was like,
I just think, and plus too, I just think it was Star Wars overload because they were trying to do a movie a year.
Yeah, that was too much. And I remember people like, don't want to call people out, but Christian Harloff was like, yeah, we're going to get to the point where they're going to do 2 Star Wars movies a year. You bet your ass. And I'm like, no, that'd be such burnout. Hell no.
Yeah, I know. And you could tell after Solo, people were burnt out.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't have released Solo when they did. That should have been in December. That was a bad decision.
Yeah, it was a very bad decision. But so, let me ask you this. People don't understand the title, The Rise of Skywalker. Which is the Skywalker that rises in this movie?
I think there are multiple Skywalkers that rises, Alex. I think since you asked, thank you for the time, and thank you for allowing me to answer this question. Yeah. I think Rey rose when she had fallen over, the Jedi were saying to rise. So very clearly, she rose from the ground. I think rise also refers to Kylo Ren's Ben Solo side.
Yes, I think that's more of what it's referring to.
I think it's also referring to Rose Tico in the past tense, where she is also a secret Skywalker. Where
could you also look? Kidding aside, could you also look at it as like the Rise of Skywalker, like? Oh, like the rise of like Luke, in a way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the whole family kind of talking about it broadly as like the Skywalker family. Like, even though they're ending because you killed the last guy in Ben Solo, which is another reason to like, you probably shouldn't let him live, because then at least we would have one like real Skywalker, and people wouldn't be as like, she killed them all and stole their name.
Okay. Let's talk about something, though. We're going back to the whole Rey as a Mary Sue thing, because people, once again, argued that she's too powerful in this movie and that she's too perfect. Listen.
She gets her ass handed to her.
She died.
She gets her ass handed to her in every movie, and people are like, she's perfect. She never does anything wrong. I'm like, she thought she killed Chewie. She fucked up.
But more importantly, she died.
Definitely, yeah, she super died. And if Kylo Ren had given her like the kiss of life, like, okay, the kiss is controversial, okay? I'm personally cool with it. I'm like, I was kind of on board. Listen, that scene in Last Jedi, that movie that you love, that scene where they had
the finger sex?
The finger sex. Like, that was the closest Star Wars has ever gotten to, like, whoa, this is getting intimate now. Like they're like
okay, I'll say this. I don't necessarily hate the actual, like, concept of Reylo. But, dude, go on the internet.
Yeah, no, I know. It's a dark place to go.
Yeah, and
look, like,
no, not even that. Go on the internet, look at, like, fan art of Reylo.
No, yeah, I mean, like, there's
it is downright, like, it is borderline NSFW. Like, it is borderline porn. I'm like, these are Disney characters, and you're turning them into, like, pornographic, like, imagery.
I mean, it's just the thing with
I'll say this: the Reylo fan community, there are some damn good artists, though.
The problem with Reylo was always because it starts in such a place of he literally has you tied down in a torture chair.
Well, like, why would you want these two together? This dude's an abusive asshole.
Right. But I mean, a lot of people are into that kind of like fictional version of that. Like so many.
But they want 50 Shades in a Star Wars movie?
Yeah, I mean, but like I liked the idea that they were connected. You know, like
yeah, I don't mind that stuff.
Yeah, and like I was to the point where I'm like, you know, Ben Solo, if he's like a nice enough dude, and I was
smiled once.
Yeah, I mean, it was
not enough for me.
Yeah, and it's just the way that scene happens where they kiss, and then he's just like.
But I also just I know it's sad, but like
also Alex,
what?
When she's dead and he holds her up and there's a shot of her bringing her head into frame, Casey always brings it up and it makes me laugh. She goes, she looks like Woody or like one of Andy's toys, like just. There's a snake in my.
I'll say this: the reason I don't like the kiss is because I just looked at that as like the fans wanted this to happen. Like, this is you saying Reylo like happens.
I mean, yeah, but I think Last Jedi started all this, where they set up, there was some definite tension. They had a whole scene where Kylo Ren's not wearing a shirt, and he's wearing weird high pants, and he's like, check out my body, Rey. Like, it's like, Rian Johnson wanted Reylo to happen 1,000%. He's like, I'm going to have him shirtless in front of her. I'm going to have them have little finger touching sex. I'm going to have them have all this sexual tension. And then, like, I'm like, they just followed through with what Rian Johnson set up as far as I'm concerned.
Rian Johnson just created the best Star Wars porn parody.
Because Force Awakens, there was none of that, really. Like, it was just kind of... And then Last Jedi, they're like, hey, I'm Skyping you right now. I'm in your DMs. Shirtless. Here's a picture of me shirtless. But so then he dies, and like I said, I kind of wish Ben Solo had lived. Honestly, I'm not super upset about it. But.
It's touching and sad when you just see him. You don't not just when you see him fall over, but when you just see him fall backwards onto the ground dead, and then he just fades away.
Yeah. But
I want to know, how did he learn to do that?
That's the thing. It doesn't make much sense. It would have made more sense for him to live. Then she goes to Tatooine
and she becomes Rey Skywalker, which people completely misunderstand what she means by that.
Well, people just are like, she stole her name. She killed them and stole her name. It's like, no, she finally felt like she had a family. She hates her actual family, so she took the name of the people who like made her who she is. That happens all the time. Foster kids take up new names for their new families. Like that happens all the time. I liked it.
Billy Batson didn't become Shazam for no reason.
I liked it. Overall, like I get people being mad about it. I think the execution's weird, where that random asshole lady's crossing the desert. Who are you?
It's a random lady. Yeah, I get
I
it.
expected a
But-
little Aki girl to show up and be like, "You must have a last name." Like, no, shut up, kid. Get the fuck out.
What if that was Broomstick Kid?
Okay, no, Broomstick Kid. This is how it should have ended because people misinterpreted the ending. They're like, "Oh, so Rey goes off and lives alone as a hermit?" No, what should have happened is she should have gone there, right? And she's alone, she's checking it out, and then all of a sudden another ship comes, and it's Finn ready to learn to be a Jedi, along with all these other people. And Broomstick Kid shows up with his broomstick over his shoulder, like, "Here I am, it's Broomstick Kid."
Come on, guys, let's go play ball.
That would have been fucking awesome if it's like, "Oh, she's training a new generation of Jedi," which I think is what the implication is, it seems. But that would have been awesome.
Okay, you know what would have worked better actually too? If you add on, so take that, and then you actually like as like say like they're like say like everybody walks off the ship, like Finn, Broomstick Kid, whoever's learning to be a Jedi,
Yeah.
and they're just like there, you know, like they're smiling at Rey. Rey smiles at them back, but then you still end it on the scene where she looks up into the sky and you see the ghosts of Leia and Luke.
Yeah, and if you were gonna kill Ben, you should probably put his ghost there
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That was weird. I'm like, you literally just killed him 5 minutes ago. We should see him, right? Like, we should see he's happy at least, right? Yeah. I mean, that would have been nice because it would have set up like, oh, Finn's gonna be a Jedi, and like Broomstick Kid is here, and look over there. It's I don't know. It's that Aki girl again. She could sense that Rey was an orphan.
One of the Porgs is going to be a Jedi.
There we go. Like, that would have been awesome. But yeah, it had a lot of things I wanted from the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, but it also didn't quite hit as hard as I wanted it to.
There's probably like some things in here that I didn't like that I didn't mention that I totally missed.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that's the same with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to unpack this movie, honestly.
Well, I also just have to, as a broad thing, because this affects all the sequel trilogy movies that I'm going to bring up. I have this, what's the word I'm looking for? Unreasonable hatred for a lot of the extras who are resistance fighters. I think they all look like they're playing a game in elementary school and they're not taking this seriously. So many times, like the extras in the resistance, especially the ones flying in the ships, I'm like, you guys suck. Like, I don't believe you. Like, they're like, oh, get down. Oh, you got one over there. I'm like, somehow those guys in like 1977.
It's Star Fox, man.
Sometimes in 1977, those guys pulled it off. Were Porkins and Biggs and all those people. I'm like, I believe that you fucking, what's his name? Blanking. He's in this movie for 2 seconds. Wedge Antilles.
I was gonna say
Wedge.
I don't like his cameo.
I don't like it either because I don't know why he's in the Falcon. He should be in a goddamn X-wing.
Exactly. Well, dude, not only is it why is he in the Falcon? Like, you don't even know he's in the Falcon.
Yeah, it just shows the cockpit, like him in the like gunner thing. He should be flying an X-wing. 1000%. That's weird. But also he should have just been in these movies more. But I guess his actor didn't want to, so.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson probably would have killed him next to Admiral Akbar anyway. But yeah, like it's a weird thing I have with these movies where if you watch them, like they just don't seem believable. There's that girl in Last Jedi who's like, and I just don't believe her.
Dude, it's Star Fox, you know? Like one of them's probably gonna be like, watch out, bogey on your tail.
Or anytime they do those montages, like in this movie, where it's like dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. They're all like getting ready and they're like giving each other high fives and like hugs. I'm like, I don't believe you. You're all actors from LA. I don't believe you. I don't know what it is. I don't have that problem in the original trilogy. I don't. All the pilots, I'm like, I believe you. That one guy in Return of the Jedi who gets shot and he crashes into the Star Destroyer. Ah! Like, I believe all those people. Like, even the prequel people from Phantom Menace, we didn't hit it. Oh, look, one of ours in the main hall. Like, all those guys. I'm like, I believe you. I don't believe the people in the sequel trilogy. Hardly any of them. I'm like, I don't believe you. No, it's weird. Every time the Resistance is on screen, I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you've had a rough life. I believe you came over from fucking Hollywood.
I don't believe you. Obi-Wan said you killed younglings.
It's a weird little rant I have to go on, but it has always bugged me. And every preceding movie, I'm like, maybe this time I won't feel that way, and then I do, and I'm like,
worse.
and even Snap, I'm like, you're distracting because you're just that guy from J.J. Abrams movies. You were lost. Also, I don't believe the Resistance people when they're coming up with plans, because you have Quill from X-Men 3 and The Force Awakens is like, you gotta hit the oscillator.
They're trying to use big words to sound smart.
Maybe if we go from the oscillator. I'm like, you're an actor. I don't believe you.
He's not an actor. He's an actor.
Like, I think the one who does best is Billy Lord. Like, I believe her.
It's Connix, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really believe the other people. It's weird. It's a weird little thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is either. I can't describe what exactly it is. I just don't buy them. Anytime they do it, I'm like,
okay. Before we end this, I meant to talk about him earlier, but General Pride, the fucking
hell yeah, classic Loki, hell yeah.
The fucking man.
I liked him
because he's not just loyal to the First Order. He's like an OG Star Wars villain.
Yeah, dude, I liked that where they're like, oh yeah, remember those Imperial assholes?
He doesn't answer to Kylo. He answers to the Emperor.
Yeah, he's like, I served you in the old wars. I'm like, hell yeah, you did, man.
And he has an awesome death too.
You know what would have been cool though?
What?
Is if I loved him in the movie, keep him. But if you also had one of the old school guys from the OG trilogy, if you had brought back General Veers, Julian
Glover,
he's in Last Crusade, he's in Game of Thrones.
For Your Eyes Only, Julian Glover.
Julian Glover, yeah. If he had shown up as an old ass General Veers, that would have been fucking awesome. Because I didn't see him die. He didn't die on screen in the original trilogy, so
yeah.
That would have been cool. I would have liked that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Overall, though, Rise of Skywalker, like I said, it's a
fun movie.
I have fun with it. I think it's got a lot of problems. It needed a few more drafts. But it's got fun moments. It's got cool little character moments.
Here's how I measured it up. Does it still deliver the big Star Wars moments? Yes. And most of what I'm watching was more of what I liked compared to what I didn't like.
Yeah.
I liked more of the movie, even though I had a lot of problems with it.
Yep.
So, and I was worried too, because the reviews were super mixed on this movie. Dude, that's the thing too. I knew, I had the inkling that even if this movie didn't get leaked, whatever happened, it wasn't just for this movie, but it was for any one of the three. I knew at least one of them was going to get mixed reviews, and at least two of them were going to get universal acclaim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it just so happened to be this one. Yeah, I just had that inkling before, even before the reviews came out. I was like, this isn't going to go the way we think. So I'm not really all that surprised that it got mixed reviews, I guess.
I mean, just kind of in closing on the sequel trilogy in general, I'm glad it happened. I love a lot of the new characters. I think it introduced a whole new generation to Star Wars in a good way. Yeah. I think Rey is a huge icon to little girls all over the world. Mm-hmm. I think Finn should have been handled better. A lot better. John Boyega deserved better.
I know.
Where was the Stormtrooper revolution I craved?
Instead, he had to go make Pacific Rim 2.
Kylo Ren was a super interesting bad guy. Adam Driver killed it. Poe Dameron was fun. It had a lot of... I liked what they did overall with the old characters. I mean, the sequel trilogy, I think, is a fun ride. A lot of people say it's not coherent enough. I think it's coherent enough. I just think...
Okay. Yeah. So I think the same thing too. Sorry to cut you off. So for those people that say it's not coherent, can you give them an overarching storyline that you can recite back to them that connects these three movies together?
Okay, this is tough on the spot, but we got this, Babu.
Yeah.
So, it has been decades since the Empire fell, and in the remnants,
Call right now.
and in the remnants and ashes of wars past and victories won, Luke Skywalker is missing, and a new generation of heroes must rise and awaken the Force to bring back our heroes. But will our old heroes be enough? Or will the new generation need to rise and overcome the sins of the past that even haunt the greatest of all heroes? And the First Order is around, and they are bad. They are the Empire, but not quite as cool. Captain Phasma, the greatest villain of all time, comes in. And Snoke is evil, but he's also secretly Palpatine. And Babu Frick is there.
To connect it all together.
To connect it all together. But I mean, it's tough because doing anything off the cuff like if I had to describe the prequels like that, that'd be tough. If you want me to sum it up real quick, the Star Wars universe is shaken to the core when a new evil rises and the new heroes have to overcome the sins of the past and forge a new destiny for the galaxy. It's all about overcoming the past and dealing with the sins of the past. To me, that's what the sequel trilogy is about, and it has always been that way since the moment you're on Jakku and Rey is scavenging around in the remnants of the previous trilogy, you know?
Yeah.
That's just me.
Which, if you play the Battlefront 2 game, you will learn that is not a Star Destroyer from the original trilogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, there was a Battle of Jakku, but yeah, that game's not canon to me. I hate that game. Yeah. Yep.
But what happened to Grogu?
He was
Did Kylo Ren kill Grogu? That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I know, right? Probably. I would assume he did. But maybe we'll find out in The Mandalorian.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. So
I think people will look more fondly on this trilogy over time based on how people now look at the prequels, which 10 years ago people were like, fuck the prequels! And now they're like, the prequels were amazing stories. Revenge of the Sith is a masterpiece. I'm like, the concept is amazing, but the execution, is it really?
Yeah.
But I think the people who grew up with this trilogy will grow to defend it, just as people our age grew up to defend the prequels more than we. I mean, I defend parts of them, but some people are like, Revenge of the Sith is everything. It's better than Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, slow your roll.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
But to each their own, you know.
I've seen people say Anakin is better than Luke, and I'm like, whoa, no. You're talking about a dude that murdered younglings compared to some guy that redeemed his father.
Yeah. Overall, though, I'm glad they made these movies. They're a bit of a roller coaster in terms.
Want a remake of them?
No. And I mean, the thing that people need to accept, you're never going to surpass the original trilogy. You just can't. That is Star Wars.
Yeah, and then it's like people want this trilogy to be like remade. It's like you cannot now because Carrie Fisher's gone.
Yeah, it would. They shot their shot when they did. Whether or not it was the success people wanted it to be is up for debate. But I'm glad they exist. I'm glad they did it. Could they have been more polished? Sure. Did we need to go to Canto Bight? No.
Yes.
Should Finn have been the main character you told us he would be? Yes. But overall, I'm happy with it.
Should Poe Dameron have been a spice runner in the past?
Yes.
Yes.
You were a spice runner? You were a stormtrooper? You were a scavenger? We could do this all day.
Dude, quick side note. Have you ever noticed in that scene though when they're like walking up the steps in Kijimi, there's like little ramps for Dio and BB-8? Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I'm glad. Overall, I would rank these at this moment. It changes all the time. I'd probably put Force Awakens at number one. Probably Last Jedi at number two, but that's with a big asterisk. That's like not including 2/3 of the movie. And then Rise of Skywalker at number three overall, even though I definitely enjoy watching this one more than a good chunk of The Last Jedi.
Okay. Are you ranking them from like best or are you ranking them from favorite?
Probably best.
Okay.
If I was doing favorite, I'd probably go Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi.
Okay.
But if I'm doing best, I'd say overall Last Jedi is better quality of a movie.
Okay.
But dude, I can't. Everything in this is better than DJ.
Okay.
Everything. Waste of Benicio del Toro.
I will give you my definitive Skywalker Saga ranking. How about that?
Okay.
Where is it on my letterbox? No, it's all the way at the bottom. Number one, controversial. I know. The Last Jedi.
No, Alex, no.
Number two, The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back is a perfect film that has barely anything wrong with it. Last Jedi has like 50 things wrong with it.
Number three, A New Hope. Number four, I go back and forth with 4 and 5. I'm going to switch it. I think I would put Return of the Jedi as 4.
Okay.
And then Force Awakens is 5, because I have Force Awakens as 4 right now. Return of the Jedi is 5. I'm going to switch them. 6, The Rise of Skywalker, because it didn't kill the Star Wars universe to me. 7, Revenge of the Sith. 8, Phantom Menace, and 9, Attack of the Clones.
Fair enough. I mean, I always think it's funny when people, with Last Jedi and with Rise of Skywalker, they're like, the sequels have killed this franchise. And then Mandalorian's like a huge success and people love it. And I'm like, the franchise isn't dead. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. Maybe like the future of like Star Wars isn't on the big screen.
Yeah, but I mean, that's fine. Evolve, you know?
Yeah, we'll see how this Rogue Squadron movie does. And then if that's not good, maybe they should just stick to Disney Plus.
It seems to be working. Mandalorian's been great.
Yeah, getting the book.
I think Book of Boba Fett will be good. Kenobi will be cool.
Rangers of the New Republic, not happening.
I mean, I don't really care about that one.
Well, it's not happening anymore, anyway.
It's got canceled?
Yeah, I think.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, because it was going to focus on Cara Dune, I think.
Oh, I thought she was just no longer a part of it, but I didn't know he did.
I think they canceled it.
Yikes.
At least we're gonna get the Acolyte though.
Yeah, which I hope is a Palpatine like prequel. Origin.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because then we could get Darth Plagueis, who should have been Snoke. He should have been Snoke. It would have been awesome. It would have made so much sense. It would have been the wise thing to do. Force Awakens, Kylo Ren says, the Supreme Leader is wise. I'm like, holy shit! And then the music is the same, similar to the opera music when Snoke is on screen. It's Plagueis! And then, like, I literally expected when he died in Last Jedi, I thought we were going to come back to him at the end. His body was going to come back together by the Force, and he was going to be like, I'm Darth Plagueis, motherfucker. And then it would cut to black, and I'd be like, whoa! So tell me, what's become of my apprentice? That would have been hype. I'm a firm believer in the Darth Plagueis supremacy.
It didn't happen.
It should have.
Yeah. But at least it was like something with Palpatine, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. All right. Where can they find you, Pat?
You can find me on this channel sometimes. I show up here sometimes, and I debate movies with Alex, and we'd have discussions about how Malekith is definitely the worst MCU villain. Don't believe anything Alex says. That guy from Black Widow was fine. He was completely fine and forgettable. Malekith was a disgrace. Anywho, you can find me there arguing with Alex about villains. You can also find me on Twitter at this Pat Guy, where I am currently starting to pick a fight with the Snyderverse Batman v Superman people. So you can find me fighting them there. Yeah, that's it for right now. Yeah, I have a wedding coming up. I'm pretty busy.
Don't crash it.
Yeah.
You can find me on this channel fighting Pat against why Malekith is better than Drykov, because it's true.
No,
It is
no way.
definitely true.
Oh.
It
me the ether.
is definitely true. You can also find me. I do some other collaborations as well. I mean, you know me, big Bond fan, so doing some Bond collaborations with another Bond fan, not this one.
You're too
so-
scared. Then I'll beat you in the Tomorrow Never Dies debate.
Yeah, we still got to do Movie Rumble episode 1.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, no, you won't. But yeah, this channel you can find me. Find me at my official website, alexmaddenmovies.mystrikingly.com. All my social media links are there. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. May the force be with you, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.
Hello, I bubble freak.
Where can I find Babu?